All righty. Well, looks like we got most folks who are going to jump on. So thanks for everybody joining today's session. My name is Joe Miller. I'm the director of product here at Polarity. Today we're going to be covering during this kind of 15-minute training. It'll be a little bit shorter than that today. We're going to be covering kind of Twitter and how to use Twitter and kind of how to think about Twitter during your day-to-day work and how Polarity and Twitter kind of interact and in our integration. So as well, going to be kind of showcasing a fun new feature that we have coming out in the middle of July. We're kind of in the final release testing now, what we call our focus mode. So folks can get kind of a fun little preview of that since I'm doing the webinar today. So with that, Twitter. Twitter is used really heavily in the InfoSec space for a lot of things. For one, as you can see here, just memes, because this is just what was happening today and kind of what's been trending is the crypto crash, because Bitcoin and that crashed. Well, it dropped below 30K and didn't crash or anything. So people just use Twitter for just regular figuring out what's happening in the world. And then in the InfoSec space, not only that, you can use it for things like indicator enrichment, right? So if I wanted to know anything about 8.8 today, which is Google's DNS, see if there's anything out there about it, you can do so. But not only that, folks are using it for kind of exploits that are out there. If anybody has an exploit or finds exploits, they tend to tweet about it. If there's a tool that's associated with an exploit or just tools out there in general to help folks in their day-to-day do different things, it tends to end up on Twitter in a lot of ways. Not only that, but also different, sorry, mind is blanking here. Yeah, different exploits, tools, just kind of fun things that are out there. So I'm just going to kind of walk through a few different ways to think about using Twitter and Polarity together, and how Twitter can kind of help enrich your day-to-day, whether it is that indicator research or it is that kind of exploit stuff you're looking for, or you just want to discover something new, or you're wondering how to do something. You can just look it up and see if there's anything in Twitter about it without having to go through Google and then kind of go to the Twitter piece or just through Twitter. The Polarity Twitter integration utilizes what we call the Google custom search engine. So we've used this in a few different integrations. If you've seen anything like the last session that Blair Gillum did, who's our DevOps and security person here at Polarity, it's a great session on sandboxes that used the Google custom search engine to kind of use that query those different sandboxes. We do the same thing with Twitter. So we're just utilizing the Google custom search engine to kind of tailor that tweet or tailor that search towards Twitter and see if there are any tweets that are related to anything that you are searching. So if you do have the Twitter integration installed, you'll need a Google custom search and API in order for it to work. If you do have a Google custom search API, it will work for any of the integrations that utilize Google custom search. So things like Sandbox, Yara Finder, Exploit Finder, to name a few of the different training sessions that we've had, like this one today. So with that, just going to kind of jump into kind of thinking about how to utilize the Twitter integration and Polarity and kind of get that extra enrichment. This isn't like a full-on training on how to use sandboxes or anything like that, more just along the lines of how to think about utilizing these tools and how Polarity and Twitter can help enrich what you're looking at. So here, one of the big things that is utilized in Twitter is kind of threat actor research, right? So if I just wanted to know some information on the CLOP threat acting group, right, which is the threat acting group that was known for that ransomware attack on the pipeline, I can just type it into Polarity and see if there's any tweets that are out there, right? So I can see here that a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, actually, Flashpoint has tweeted something about it. So they probably found a little bit more information around it. They tweeted about it. You can very easily click the link, jump back out into Twitter, and kind of have that enrichment around that threat actor group. And then you can scroll through, you can see more if you want to load more. I think we load up to 10. The integration is customizable on all the different tweets that can be pulled back, but really just kind of pulls in that high level information so you can see if there's a tweet that you want to click on, want to get more enrichment or drill into. So this is just one way to do this, kind of just search for CLOP, or if you're looking at like FireEye, for example, here they have their current threat actor group that's out there. If I just wanted to know more information about AP230, I can utilize Polarity's on-demand mode highlight APT30, and then you can see that there's about 94 tweets around this threat acting group. Click in, see if there's anything of use. A lot of these things reference articles, so there's different articles about it. So if you're really trying to drill into those different threat acting groups, you can do so very easily and kind of get that enrichment that Twitter can provide, which is a really, really neat little use case. So not only tools is kind of one way to think, or not tools, not only threat acting groups is one way to kind of think about utilizing the Polarity Twitter integration, but also kind of how-tos in the cyber world, right? So if I want to know, all right, how do I embed goaling tools in C#? I'm here in Google. I just typed it into Google. But not only that, I want to see if there's anything that's being tweeted about, anything that's being mentioned, see if there's any other tools that's not pulling up here. Just to kind of drill in a little bit more and kind of see what else might be out there, right? So you can see here that they're referencing a Medium article, which was built on this, basically this GitHub tool that allows folks to kind of embed Golang into C#. So not only do you have that threat acting piece, you also kind of have that how-to, right? So I want to know maybe if is there anything that's like JSON greppable, right? If there's like a tool that allows me to grep JSON, I'm just going to type this into Polarity, see if there's anything that's out there, see what might be a little different. And you can see here that there's some actual stuff that was tweeted not too long ago by Florian Roth, CyberOps. He's a great person to follow on Twitter if you don't already. He has a lot of really cool stuff that he tweets about or retweets, and follows a lot of really, really interesting people in the InfoSec space. So you can see here that there is actually a tool called JSON greppable. It's actually a really, really neat tool. Just github.com. You can click in here, see it. But this is just to kind of showcase that if you do want to know what else is out there, Twitter is a really, really, really great space for tool exploration, because people are tweeting anything they put out from GitHub. It tends to end up on Twitter in some form or fashion before it ends up on Medium or these different articles or about it. So a really, really neat way to just kind of do tool exploration and see what else is out there. And then, of course, it's used a ton for exploits that are out there. So not only can you look for CVEs, I just have some different things kind of queued up here to kind of showcase these different different use cases you can think about using Twitter and Polarity for. So here I just want to see if there's any like Windows TC ICP implementation. You can just highlight this random text and see if there's anything that's along those lines. You see there's 24 tweets about it. There's actually something Microsoft released a fix affecting this and has the vulnerabilities. Or if I wanted to, I can just search for a straight up vulnerability and kind of get that enrichment around it. So not only do I have Twitter, but of course, Polarity also pulls in that other enrichment from CVE search, from recorded future to have that context. And Twitter just provides that extra layer. So not only do you have the kind of high level threat information, you also have those, see what people are talking about it, see if there's any like remote execution code out there. If you're trying to exploit it from a pen testing aspect, whatever that may be, you can kind of link out and see what Twitter may be saying about it on top of what is actually coming in through your different threat acting groups or your tips and things along those lines. Here is just another example. This is US CERT. We will have another, just kind of tee up another 15-minute training in the future. We'll have a US CERT training coming soon, which is really cool. We have another Google custom search integration, which just looks at US CERT. But here is just a article that has been posted. If I want to know more information about this, I can just highlight the information here and then run it through and see what Polarity might know about it, see what tweets are out there or not out there about these different things. So you can see here this CVE, of course, has a hit in CVE search and recorded future, but also pulls back different information that people are tweeting about to see if you really kind of need the extra context. And here, if you don't have a FireEye integration within Polarity, you now can have access to somebody that's tweeting a FireEye PDF or a FireEye article and kind of get that extra enrichment or extra information you might need around this different CVE. So not only do you kind of have the tool, the exploits, that kind of use cases you can utilize Twitter for, but also just kind of indicator enrichment, right? So if you want to know if are people tweeting about these things, if somebody found information about these different these different IPs or these hashes or whatever that indicator may be, you can utilize Twitter to kind of get that extra context around it. It's just kind of another way to look at the data as you're kind of exploring things. So here I'm actually going to kind of take a step out of the Twitter use case for a minute here and talk about our new mode, kind of give everybody a preview. We call this our Polarity Focus mode. Is what it is it's a combination of our on-demand query and our recognition. So you kind of get the best of both worlds here. So I hit a quick shortcut key and it pulled up this kind of little snippet tool here. If I want to know information about this is Wireshark, right? I can't copy and paste information out of it very easily. I'm just going to highlight or hit that quick shortcut key and kind of draw over the section that I want it to recognize, see if Polarity knows any more information about it. And is what that does, it takes a screenshot of that area, runs our recognition on top of it in an on-demand only mode. So if you do have these more kind of text-driven integrations like Twitter is, since you can just search for any old plain text, it will actually run that query on that text. And you can see here, now we had kind of sent that query off with that mode, and you have that kind of indicator enrichment. You can see somebody had annotated these IPs as known TrickBot entities. But you can see here that this 72 address is in the United States. It's slightly risky according to Recorded Future. You can see kind of the risk details in the history. But not only that, you also have that kind of Twitter piece. You can actually see if there's been anything referenced on Twitter. And you can see here there's a lot related to Azure DevOps. So you can pretty much assume this is something along the lines DevOps or Azure kind of owns this IP address. You have that extra context to see, all right, where this might be coming from, where it might not be coming from. And that's just from Twitter. So here is just kind of another way to look at the information. Here's a PCAP dump I've uploaded into Google Sheet just to kind of showcase another way to look at indicators. I'm going to use that new Polarity Focus mode here. And after this, I'll kind of show you another little fun aspect of this focus mode. But had Polarity look at this piece of the screen, and let's just see what's out there. So you can see here that this 45 address, somebody said it's interesting, they wanted to look into it. And you can see that there's 10 tweets around it, some from around March 2022. If I'm right, this is an IP that was actually kind of associated with COVID in early March or so. So you can see here that somebody has found these in an email attachment, right? You kind of get that extra enrichment that is there on Twitter, but it's not really in anywhere else, or unless you're like deep into your tip or something along those lines. So just kind of another really interesting way to utilize that Polarity Twitter kind of combination and integration. So not only those tools, the exploits, the indicators, CVEs, anything along those lines, but you can get that enrichment from really anywhere and about anything, which is just a really kind of neat way to have more context that you might need. Here's another IP address that was in the in this list here. You can see that some folks are tweeting about it. It's actually relatively new from 5 days ago. So the integration will actually tell you like the dates, tries to organize it by the most recent. And you can see this is actually associated with a rootkit that's connecting to somewhere in China, right? So you just have that extra context that you might not have without the right tools. So you see here, we just had information from MaxMind saying it was from China, but you can see it's actually a little bit more interesting than that. So you really kind of have the power of being able to go search Twitter for what is out there and what's not, to help enrich your day-to-day. And then, of course, since it is Twitter, I'm just going to reload the window here. You can do some fun different things, right? So if I want to see if there's anything happening with Washington, D.C., I can just type in Washington, D.C. If there's any new tweets that are out there. You can see that the mayor has tweeted. So you kind of just have the ability to search inside of Twitter. And of course, if I wanted to see, just to give us a plug, if I wanted to see what Polarity is tweeting about, I can just type in polarity.io and see if Polarity has any new tweets or any new things that are out there. Or if I wanted to see what anything about Joe Miller is out there, right? You can just type in Joe Miller and see if he has anything, any tweets related to Joe Miller or any tweets from a person named Joe Miller. There's a lot of us out there. So kind of just has that fun aspect of it as well. Just being able to really search Twitter just straight from the Polarity overlay window. So not just that kind of InfoSec related piece, but also just kind of the fun piece if you want to see what else is out there, right? If I wanted to actually kind of what I showcased earlier, if I wanted to see like the crypto crash, see if there's anything relating to the crypto crash, which might not be because I actually spelled crypto wrong, because it's what happens on live demos. So you can see here, there's a lot of tweets that are happening kind of in real time because everything that's been happening today. So like I said before, this is really just meant to kind of help think about how Twitter can help enrich your workflow and in your day-to-day and help provide the extra context that you might need. And also to kind of showcase our new Polarity Focus mode, which will be coming out soon. We'll have another webinar on that, which kind of drill into the mode a little bit more after the 4th holiday. So that's kind of the high level on how to use Polarity and Twitter. If anybody has any questions, let us know. I think there is a Q&A section if folks do. And if not, no worries. You can always reach us at customer success@polarity.io or support@polarity.io, or you can reach me at joem at polarity.io if you have any other questions. And with that, I hope everybody has a good rest of their day.